someone who works the land. A hammer swings from a callous hand. The backbone of the state. Born and raised into this fate. It's a proud tradition, a way of life. Sons, daughters, husband and wife, with the family to work, play and pray, and the chance to do all the next day.
We're the Kurt family.
Welcome to our farm!
The most rewarding part of farming is seeing how your crops, you plant them, they grow, you harvest them, and then you feed them to the animals, and you see how the animals grow. Sharing that with your family is amazing.
It's hard work, but it's rewarding work. It's a great way to bring up your kids and to make them understand what hard work's about.
I chose to farm because I was brought up as a little boy farming. You see plants coming up and you see these calves being born and grow up, and you had something to do with it.
We are really the only occupation that can provide and feed for the world, and there's no greater thing that you can do for people.
Oh, we rely on farmers for a lot more than just food nowadays. In Wisconsin, we love our dairy products and we're very proud of our dairy industry. But our fresh fruits, our vegetables, our meat, all of that's important. But farmers are also a big part of our fuel sources now.
A typical day, if there even is one. Running a farm means lots to get done. Farmers don't take vacations or get a day off even. Trucks of milk are the only things leaving.
You know, we put in a lot of long hours, and I don't think people understand what it takes every single day for what we do here as a family to produce, the milk that's on the tables, your meat that you eat, that the hours that it takes. We're dedicated and we do it every day, so it's part of our life.
Keeping fences, tractors, and the cow yard. Only thing simple about farm life is, it's simply hard. Roughed up knuckles and dirt under nails. All on track, long as no equipment fails. Or no early frost on the orchards and fields. No worries of drought bringing lower yields. The rigors of farming place high demands. Sometimes risk is out of their hands.
Over the course of the last 20 years or so, a little bit more visible to people that the farm is a very dangerous place. It's got a very high death rate, even for adults. The death rate for adults is 5 times that of any other occupation. And for children, it's also extremely hazardous. About 45 kids are injured on a farm every day, and about every 3.5 days a child is killed on a farm.
I think the farming industry can be very dangerous in many ways. I think there's all of the things in farming are have moving parts, and one accident can cause major problems for many people.
Over the 20 years that I've been here in Middleton, and also previous to this, other areas in Wisconsin, I've seen 20 or so different types of agriculture-related, farm-related incidents, and many of them not so serious, some very serious.
It takes a village to raise a child, and a family to raise a farm. The most important work, keep them free from harm.
In this old pig barn, we used to have pigs at this farm, but now we got out of that and we went into dairy farming.
He was up at the farm with my husband, and he was near a grain auger, and he went into the auger and accidentally, got his arm caught in the and the auger. He's been great about it. You know, he never has complained, anything like that, and he can do just about anything. He plays baseball, football, he wrestles, he plays soccer, and he loves to farm. You know, even when he came home from the accident, he even said, well, when can we go back to the farm? This was just the next day.
A 9-year-old boy has died after falling into a grain bin.
We went out there that day, and we've been out there probably for 2.5 hours. We had just stopped, and he had had his first gooseberry and first black cap or black raspberry. We stopped underneath a walnut tree at that time, and they picked the back end of the Ranger up with walnuts. Just pulling a little brush hog behind our Ranger, no bigger than the width of the Ranger, and you had to go real slow on it because anything over 5 miles an hour and it wouldn't cut. We just got around the corner and probably had maybe 2-3 minutes left when we'd be done for the day. And the kids had behaved the entire day. He stood up in the back of the Ranger to grab a walnut as we passed. And as he grabbed the walnut, he never let go. And the walnut never came off the tree, and it pulled him, and he stumbled off the back of the four-wheeler. And there's not much clearance on the bottom of those brush hogs, so it rolled up on top of him, and he went underneath it.
Those who are impacted by it, whether it's family members or co-workers who either witness it or are somehow involved in the rescue, you know, it also impacts them long term. So, because they certainly have to remember all of those things that they witnessed and saw and all the events that took place.
Well, I think the tough thing for our kids is that they were both present and watched their brother die. And I think that's, at such a young age, you know, they were 9 and 6 at the time, and for them to have to see something like that is horrible, and obviously will scar them for life. But you know, when we tell them, you know, be careful, you know, you might get hurt or this might happen, that, you know, now they know. As far as moving forward, we've tried to use Derek as an example of the good there is in people with our Acts of Kindness campaign, with trying to pay it forward to others. We've done some improvements out at the ballpark in his name to leave a legacy for him, so others that might not have known him will get to know the kind of kid that he was.
When they leave the house, I'll often say, just be safe, be careful, you know, make sure you're walking with your head up, and make sure you know where you're going and your surroundings. Especially when we're doing hay and stuff, there's a lot of equipment moving around. Just be careful.
So often kids just think that they're above that, or that they're invincible, and you know, it's so easy to just not listen.
You know, I think you can do, as a parent or even as a farmer, you can do everything that you can to try to protect yourself from an accident, but that's just what it is, it's an accident. No matter how careful you are and how well you prepare, some things are going to happen. In a day, in the life of a farmer, anything could happen. You know, back in the day, I remember kids used to ride on the wheel wells of the tractors, and I still see it today, and you know, it just takes one bump and something could happen. So I don't know if you can actually ever prepare yourself to be 100% accident-free.
I rode the tractor with my dad and with my grandpa, and we've had this discussion with my husband on several times, and I've got him convinced now that he's not taking our grandkids out anymore either. But it does tend to be something that people view as a tradition, but there's a whole lot of better traditions that you can establish in your family, whether it's playing with your kids with tractors in the sandbox, or buying them ride-on tractors, or taking them out and having them help with these age-appropriate tasks.
I think farming has changed in safety aspects because the tractors are all cab now. They have buddy seats with seat belts. So I feel more comfortable with our kids in the tractor, honestly, because I know that when they're riding along, they're seatbelted. If something would happen, that they'd be okay.
In the last several years, the injury rate for children has gone down. A number of years back, it was at about 23,000 youths a year that were injured on farm, and youths and children. Now that number has dropped to under 14,000 a year. We think it's a fantastic thing for children to work on farms. I grew up working on a farm. It teaches you a great work ethic. It teaches kids responsibility. You develop that pride in being a farmer or a farmer's child.
We have Colton, our oldest, he's 11. We have him do chores in the barn when the dairy cattle aren't in there anymore. He washes down the holding area. He also helps bed the steers, which we do that when they're locked out of the building, so that's a little bit safer. With our youngest, who's 8, he doesn't have any chores he does every day, but he helps us when he can be with us. Knowing where they are, knowing what they're doing, knowing what they're going to be doing, and we run with walkie-talkies a lot too, so that we can talk to them and stay in communication with them.
That's part of the message, and what we're trying to get out here is in everything you do, safety is big.
We're really, really proud of our farmers. We depend on you for food, for fuel, for education, for entertainment, and we think that farming is a great, great occupation. We also know it's a very dangerous occupation. We know that it's important that we keep that next generation interested in farming, but also that we keep them safe.
Farming is our future.
Kids may not remember the things you say, but they're studying your actions every day. Teach by example and do things right to ensure a good sleep each and every night. As a tribute to the generations before, what you pass down will be much more than the land, the buildings, and the rows. A farmer knows. You reap what you sow.
It's hard work, but it's as nice a life as you can find.